Chapter 1. Everything was dark and everything hurt. When she pried her eyes open, there was light, and even the light hurt. Isaac couldn't locate the center of the pain, nor could she name it, describe it, or understand it. But it was her constant companion as she woke into a bloody, broken world. She reached for something to hold on to. At first, she found only glass shards, and then finally, the shape of a familiar hand. Dwight? She licked her lips and tried again, with a little more volume. Dwight? Dwight, is that you? No response. Thinking she might have blacked out and missed a word or a twitch of his fingers, she tried again. Dwight? Dwight, what happened? Taking a deep breath, she forced herself to sit up. It was a slow process, but it still made her head spin. When the room finally righted itself, she saw that it was Dwight on the floor beside her. Dwight was dead. She touched his neck, searching for his pulse. She couldn't remember exactly where to find the pulse, but he wasn't breathing and was covered in his own blood. Her gasp boiled over into a quick sob, but she stifled it, swallowing down the tears. She had no tears to shed for him. She cried for the memory of her sister's face, hurt, bruised and scared, streaked with tears and blood. Blood. She'd made her baby sister bleed. No, she'd done worse than that. She tried to kill her. Oh my God. Pain forgotten, she scrambled away from Dwight's corpse and tried to find her feet. Nothing was broken, but she bled from multiple wounds, and red and purple bruises bloomed across her ribs like roses. Her clothes were shredded, and her feet had been sliced open on the wreckage of fatal violence. Oh my God. She had to get out of there. With 2 bodies already behind her, she didn't dare get caught with a third, especially since she had no memory of what had happened to him. Hell, she had no idea what had happened to herself, or what she might have done. If she could attack Sarah, she was clearly capable of anything. There was another sign of a struggle in her bedroom. The sight of the broken chair, the blood on the floor, the dent in the wall. It was all too much. She couldn't even step past the door. She considered forgoing clothes and shifting into her wolf form, but the thought sent a shudder through her stomach. A now musty load of clothes forgotten in the washer was her only salvation. A damp pair of jeans and one of Dwight's flannel shirts hid most of her hastily bandaged wounds. No amount of makeup could cover the black eye or swollen lip, but still she tried. Dwight's truck was parked haphazardly in the driveway, keys still in the ignition. Sarah's scent had been strong in the cabin, and she still caught traces of it in the yard, but after a certain point it was gone. Clearly they'd left in another vehicle, and in the distance she saw lights that may have been them, but she had no hope of catching up. Even if she did catch up, what would she say? How could she possibly explain? She knew Dwight's influence had something to do with it, but she couldn't quite remember what he said, and she certainly didn't know why. She couldn't explain herself. She couldn't explain anything. She just wanted to go home, shower, sleep, and face this nightmare by the light of day. The old truck was a bitch to drive, and she was weak from exhaustion. Her adrenaline was enough to get her on the road, but not enough to sustain her, and more than once the wheel jerked from her hands. She tried to correct it, but in her panic she overcorrected and felt the tires skid from the smooth pavement to the rough gravel. Another rough yank to the wheel almost had her back on the road, but a post stood between her and the pavement. The truck slammed to a hard stop, yanking her forward.